I think everything you've described goes along with what we've heard in our qualitative interviews too. So I gave a few data points from our quantitative research, but what we've heard in interviewing young people about the sacred moments they've had, there's 3 main dimensions that we've just heard over and over again about sacred moments. And I think it correlates with what you've already described, that we've heard that sacred moments are extraordinary, meaning that they're set apart from our ordinary lives in special and meaningful ways. The second is that sacred moments are personal, which I think really speaks to what you're doing, and making it feel really tailor-made for young people. And that communicating deep truths can be really specific to how a certain person is experiencing those deep truths. And then the third is that sacred moments are relational, meaning that they're marked by profound feelings of interconnectedness.
Beautiful.
So those 3 dimensions, extraordinary, personal, and relational, I think they speak to the life cycle events you've described, the coming of age ceremonies and moments. But I think they also speak to the rituals that you do with the high holidays.
Yeah.
And you've given me a small preview in another conversation we had about the ways you're flipping the script and reimagining the ritual and tradition of shofar blowing. So can you tell us, what are you doing that makes young people invited and centered in the ways you're reimagining this tradition?
Yeah, so there's a tradition of blowing a shofar, which is a ram's horn, on every morning the month leading up to Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year in the fall. And then hearing a really loud blast. It's called Tekiah Gedola. It's like, if you can hold it for a minute and blast the shofar for a minute, it's real on Yom Kippur. It's seen in our tradition as like, wake up to the present moment and wake up to your life because it's a gift. And not only that, but get it together to live your best life by repairing relationships that have been frayed or ruptured over the past year or several years. Really be accountable to people in your life so that you can live with peace and accountability and truth and justice and compassion and all the values. So this practice of blowing the shofar every morning during the Jewish or Hebrew month of Elul, which is the month leading to Rosh Hashanah, is an ancient practice. And I don't know if we're going to do this yet. So if my colleagues are on this interview watching, they've heard me talk about this, but we haven't come up with a program to implement it. But my hope, my vision is that we can enlist teens who have graduated from our Open Tent Bar Mitzvah program to learn how to blow shofar, and that we record little snippets of video of 30 or 31 kids blowing shofar and then talking about like, what does being Jewish mean to them? And then we send out like drip content. Every day we send out a little video to folks to really hear from the voices of teens blowing the shofar as a wake up and articulating their truth of how important being Jewish is to them. Oh my God, I'm so excited to do this. It's going to be a lot of logistics, but it's going to be so great.
I can't wait. I hope that we can hear about what it actually looks like as you're, imagining this and visioning it out. I hope we can hear this is how it all went down. And I love that it's not only inviting them to do a tradition that young people aren't typically the ones who are centered in, but also that you're asking them a question for them to answer however it feels, relevant and real to their own experience about how Jewish life resonates with them.
Yep.
So that's really gorgeous. I think the wheels are turning for, not only the product that we're releasing this fall with the State of Religion and Young People 2023, but also this future project that we've announced where we have grant funding to be able to find out what is working to engage young people in faith communities?
Mm-hmm.
Well, these sort of new ways of reimagining, you and Judaism Your Way is just really leading in ways that I find really encouraging and inspiring. So thank you. Thank you for what you do. I have just another last question for you as we wrap up. Because you care about young people and you work with so many different ages, when it comes to the ways that you get to accompany and support youth and young adults, what do you love about it? What draws you to work with young people in these stages of life with the 13 to 25-year-old span we've been talking about?
Yeah. That's such a good question. I really loved having deep conversations with college students when I was a university professor. That was the most important thing to me, more so than like, you know, gauging whether students were like acquiring the content of the classes. I just wanted to mentor people and walk alongside with them and just listen to their stories and reflect back what I was hearing and encouraging them to grow and to take risks and become who they're supposed to be in the world. And so that's the most meaningful, satisfying part of my work with young people, is just being a resource and affirming you're awesome exactly the way you are. And I can't just wait to see who you grow into by exploring the world and coming to a deeper sense of yourself. So I just love it. I mean, I'm so happy I became a rabbi because I get to work with so many more people in different walks of life and stages of life, and working with middle school students. When I started doing this work, I was like, oh my God, I have found my work in the world. Like this is what I was put on the planet to do, is to really work with kids during this confusing transition and just be a resource to them.